Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your boy Dimitri here with my favorite French co-host Martial. After Olympiacos' second leg against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League knockouts in the round of 24, if the maths is right. 0-0. 2-0 loss on aggregate after last week's game at Karaiskaki. Olympiacos are out of the Champions League. End of the European season, a season which up until a few months ago we thought was going to end a lot earlier. And on the back of 3 excellent wins at the end of regular season, we managed to qualify. A European season that exceeded expectations for some, met expectations for other. I don't think disappointed anyone. And if it did disappoint anyone, please, we'd love to hear from you as to why you think our Champions League season disappointed you. But before we get into the game, I'm going to pass it over to Martial so he can say hello, bonsoir. Bonsoir, Martial.
How are you, my man?
I'm good.
Nice French.
I'm good as I can be.
Yeah, no, it's one of those games in which you need to accept losing. Uh, it's probably how can I say that? In Champions League, when you're Olympiacos, I think losing has a matter. It means that you understand what it takes to play at that level, and I think we did it when we lost against Barcelona, Arsenal, Real Madrid, for example. We learned through losing, and I think that's why we won the last 3 games of the regular phase. And I do hope that we will learn from the game we played tonight, because the tactical plan, in my opinion, was good, but we lacked individual quality, and individual quality in Champions League can only be fixed by signings. And that's why I'm not really pissed, because I want to believe that it's part of the process. I know it's frustrating to be eliminated, because we haven't been eliminated a lot with Mendilibar, let's be honest. We have been eliminated by Bodo last season, well, by no one in the Conference League the year before. So we need to learn how to accept that. And um, as you said in the introduction, I would have signed for that in the summer. My only goal in the Champions League was to win a game, because we needed it so bad. We needed it so bad, and when we drew against Paphos, I think no one would have expected Olympiacos to draw in Leverkusen tonight. Let's be honest. Uh, I wasn't expecting Mendilibar to be there yet. Like, I mean, uh, it's difficult to have a good look at the whole Champions League campaign, because it's Champions League football. And the most odd take I would have is that I would not want to be in Bodo Glimt's position right now, because the more hype you get when you're a small club into the Champions League reality, and the more difficult it is to remain at that level. You know what I mean? Olympiacos can only improve. I don't think Bodo can improve more than what they are doing right now.
Yeah, like Apoel a few years ago when
Yeah,
they were
exactly.
in the quarterfinals. Yeah. Right, before we dissect all of that, just a reminder to people to please like, subscribe, comment, engage with us. Comment, we'll try to answer your questions, or we'll chat to you about any hot takes you might have or any compliments you might have, anything like that. Please engage with us. Your engagements really help promote the channel and promote Thrylos 7 International throughout the world. Wherever there's Olympiacos fans, Greek, non-Greek. I mean, I'm Greek, but born and raised abroad. Martial is not Greek, but we're both obsessed with Olympiacos. We're just 2 of millions of Olympiacos fans around the world. So help us spread the word in order to spread the word of Olympiacos around the world. And if you want to support us even further, you can support us on Patreon from as little as $1. All of your financial help goes right back into running Thrylos 7 International, be it the site, the equipment, the analysis that we get, the scouting, the data, all of that stuff. So we appreciate all of your help, both engagement wise and financially, and by following our social media pages. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok. That's absolutely blowing up. We've got our guy Costa Levoyani right now in Leverkusen, doing post-match interviews. He was there for the game in the press area. So right now he is currently interviewing Santiago Heze. That all of that material will be going live on our pages, on our YouTube, etc., etc. So please like, follow, subscribe, and you will be kept up to date with that. Now that that's been done, let's dissect some of the stuff that you've been that you touched upon, Martial. Let's talk about the. Do we want to talk about the game first or the campaign as a whole, and where, because the stuff that you mentioned about where we see Olympiacos and stuff, and now you compare it to Bodo. Do we want to leave that second, or do we want to lead with that? What do you think?
I think we can talk about the game before, because the thing is, in my opinion, I don't think we will see a team of Olympiacos being that tactically ready for Champions League if the coach, if Mendilibar leaves. I don't think we will find a coach that can prepare the team tactically like tonight. But on the other side, this playing style limits the team so much, so I can't really have an opinion about the playing style, because it does work. I mean, if you just look at the result, it's a draw against Leverkusen. So this draw doesn't mean nothing. But the thing is, you don't lose. You don't lose because you pressed a lot. You won back ball very high on the pitch, but you didn't do anything with that. So I'm kind of mixed, because if Mendilibar leaves, we will see more creativity. We will see more liberty for some offensive players, but the whole structure won't be the same. I mean, and that's why the game has a very strange effect on my mind, because we can still improve, but I don't think we can improve with the coach.
I mostly agree with what you've said. The only bit I don't agree is literally the last sentence that we can't improve. I really agree with what you said about the tactics and the style of play. So our style of play, the Gengen pressing, the counter pressing, I think is amazing. Not okay, amazing for our standards, right? It's not Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp at the start, but it's for Olympiacos. It's the best I've seen. I like this style of play. I like the fact that we don't go into big European games against big teams. I'm not talking Bafos and teams that we should be beating, or Kairat. I'm talking in the Conference League against 2 years ago against Fenerbahce, theoretically the away game and the home game, the team that is on our level, but maybe a tiny bit better because of their budget. Aston Villa, a Premier League team, the final against Fiorentina. We saw it in the Europa League last year. Teams like Porto, again, bigger teams than we are. We saw it this year. Not so much at the Emirates against Arsenal. I thought we were quite timid and scared. And I even asked coach about that, Mendilibar, in our post-match interview. But Barcelona, we tried up until that red card. I was there. I think we tried. I thought we tried a lot more than we did against Arsenal. Real Madrid, we definitely did. Leverkusen in the league phase game we did. Ajax we did, and today again most of all. So I like that style of play. It suits us in the Champions League because we are not favorites in the Champions League or in Europe. Majority of the cases, we are the smaller team in European games. So I like that because we're not scared. We counter press, we win the ball high up, and especially in the Conference League season, it led to many, many, many goals. Today, the amount of times we stole the ball, the commentator even said that in the league phase, we were the second team with the most winning the ball back after Athletic Bilbao. We were the second team throughout all of the league phase. So it works. Today didn't lead to a goal. I think we're going through a goal drought at the moment. So I agree with you that we need more creativity. We need more up front. But the basis of the counter press for me is the correct style of play in these games.
No,
I'm not talking about Greek games. I'm not talking about the small teams. And I'm not talking about teams that we should be beating in Europe, which is what we saw happen against Bafos, which we saw against many games in the Europa League last year. Rangers and Twente are the two off the top of my head, which finished 0-0 or 1-1, where it was just abysmal. There was just no creativity. There was just nothing. We just had possession and didn't do anything with it. Kairat could have been like that. Thankfully, we scored. But every other game has been much, much better. So I agree on those aspects. I completely disagree about Mendilibar because I love him to bits and I want him to be able to understand that he can afford to tweak things, still have that press mentality. But when we win the ball back, there has to be more tactic. There has to be more attacking flair. There has to be more magic than there is at the moment, unfortunately. And I hope and pray that Mendilibar can find that.
Well, the thing is, the first starting point for me is um, anyone should be asking himself, where does he see Olympiacos into the pyramid of Champions League club when it comes to expectation toward the coach, toward the board, and toward players? Uh, because you can be frustrated. I'm frustrated because I do believe that Leverkusen is a better team, but they left some chances for us to exploit. Uh, so that's why I'm frustrated. But this, on a part of that, if we had the players that would be at 100% into Mendilibar's plan, I, we would not fight for the Champions League win, but we would reach like quarterfinals and stuff. You know, if you sign five top players in this team, it's not Olympiacos anymore, and we won't be able most likely to sign five top players that will transform uh, Mendilibar's plan into a Champions League winning team. It takes time. It's the first time we play the Champions League after 5 years of not playing it. If you do remember how limited we were against with Martins at the end when we were playing Champions League, we were playing for the third place into a group of four teams, praying to win against Marseille, against Zvezda, for example, to qualify for the Europa
PSV.
League. Yeah, exactly. Um, it's I don't. It's the fans also, in my opinion, needs to realize that Olympiacos went on into the pyramid of clubs, and we are just starting to get again direct qualification for the Champions League. We outplayed teams with bigger budget like Marseille, like Benfica that did not qualify. Teams like that, massive teams did not qualify, and we did it by winning the last three games. So that is a success. That is a success for a team that was recovering from horrible European season before, when we were losing to Karabakh, losing to Nantes, losing to Freiburg. Uh, we were losing to Nantes. Never played Europe again. I mean, we have the consistency of being in Europe every year. So at some point it will matter. And the fact that we qualified with the new formula of Champions League the first year, just like we secured the top eight last season with Mendilibar, uh, indicates that the guy has a recipe. He has a recipe, and anytime I'm trying to think that he should leave, anytime I'm trying to think that I don't like this playing style anymore because it's too basic, it deprives player from creativity. I mean, the answer to tonight, if you look at the team, you have Rodinei as a right back. You have Ortega that anyone shot on for years. You have Dani Garcia starting. You have Taremi starting. You have no winger almost apart of Gelson, and you are still able to get a draw in Leverkusen, even if Leverkusen probably played at 60%. Who cares? It shows more that we have an unused potential in Olympiacos currently rather than we reached the limit. It's both. It's both. But I choose to believe that we can still improve. Because if we do get to the Champions League next season, we will have 3 to 4 games winnable. You know what I mean? Like PSV, teams like PSV, Kairat, Paphos will be there next season. Not the same one, but you know what I mean? Maybe it's going to be Zvezda. Maybe it's going to be Copenhagen. Uh, we just need to get there again. If we want that game tonight to matters, we need to win the league. Otherwise, it doesn't matter at all.
Martial, I fully agree with you. There's a lot of different points there. There's a lot of points to dissect. The first one I'm going to answer, I think, has to do, with this comment. So Alexander here, he said, I believe it's a bad mentality to think that we have made it this far, so the season. I believe it's a bad mentality to think that because we have made it this far, the season is a success. We have not passed. Oh, Martial is gone. He'll be back. We have not passed the knockout round in forever. Timings of subs very questionable again. And this is what Martial was talking about. And I really agree with him here that we can't just expect miracles from Olympiacos and suddenly, after all these years of not playing Champions League football, not just to play, to qualify into the knockout stages and then win a knockout round, which we have never done in our history. We have never in our history won a knockout round, like double leg, in the Champions League. Yes, we've got to the quarterfinals before, but that was when, after the group stage, the first round is the quarterfinals. So we've never actually. So people, it's a lot tougher nowadays to get further in the competition. There's more teams. So we can't necessarily have that expectation straight away. You have to learn how to walk before you learn how to fly. It's as simple as that. And as Martial said, it's something that we need to keep building and building and building. Like, we don't have that European pedigree. We've dropped in the pyramid scale. Exactly what Martial has been saying. I echo that 100%. We were a team that was getting absolutely battered by the likes of Nantes and Freiburg. I still have nightmares about Freiburg. Genuinely still have nightmares about them because the amount of times they beat us and just disgustingly beat us. I still have nightmares about the last times we were in the Champions League where we were punching bags. And as Martial said, we were just fighting for Europa League qualification the last few attempts. The last time we qualified for a knockout game was 2014. I was still in school. Like I was in my final year at school and I had to lie to my teachers telling them I was going to go to Manchester to look at the university. But instead I was going to watch the game. And then I came home at like 7 a.m. the next morning, back down to London. Like we need to get out of this headspace that this was the minimum. This was not the minimum. This was the aim. We achieved the aim, but it was by no means a minimum. It was actually success. It would not have been like, oh, get rid of Mendilibar if we don't qualify and everyone's shit and get rid of them all. But at the same time, it's not like, okay, well, yeah, we've won the Champions League because we qualified to the knockout, but it is a success. It's not the minimum, in my opinion.
We need players like that. I mean,
you've got some crazy jerseys, man. Diogo. No, but yeah, I wanted to touch on one more thing that you mentioned at the start of your answer before. I think Leverkusen were there for the taking. This is the only thing that disappoints me. I think we could have done it. We really could have done it because they were sloppy. They played, as you said, they played at 60%. They were far too lulled and sleepy. They were sloppy. They made mistakes. We kept stealing the ball in high up positions, and we just couldn't create anything, couldn't do anything. I remember one good shot on target we had was Gelson Martins towards the end from the corner, and it was a save. And then there was a couple right at the end where we had the ball in really central positions in front of the goal with a lot of space, and they deflected it. But we just didn't create enough when we'd steal the ball back. So I agree with you that that's the disappointing bit, because Leverkusen were there for the taking. All it took was one goal, and then it's panic stations. That's where I'm at, and then we've got
The thing is, just to catch back on what you said about falling back into the pyramid. In my opinion, we should at least start to consider that into modern football, the European history of Olympiacos probably starts with Martins when it comes. I don't mean that everything that happened before is meaningless, but the thing is, football has evolved a lot. Like Wolverhampton is 3 times more powerful than us financially when it comes to signed players, and they barely won a game in the Premier League. It's over the time in which we could be above 80% of Premier League clubs. And the starting points for me uh, of European history with Olympiacos starts with Martins when he took us back to the Champions League, and then he fall down massively. And starting from that point, what Mendilibar did in 3 years, in 2 years, for example, sorry, is is massive. And I think even if we do change the coach, because depending on how the season is going to be, if we do decide to fire Mendilibar and change the coach, the work he has done in Europe will be good enough for the club to be able to attract better coaches than the one we had after Martins. Because if you do remember what Martins did really do in Europe, nothing, nothing that was truly amazing. It was just better than the shit we had before for years when we were struggling to qualify
the
for the
last
Champions.
successful Europe, the last successful manager we had in Europe for me was Mitchell.
Yes,
In
yeah,
because he was the one in 2014, right? If we like before Mendilibar, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Olympiacos right now, you go into the market and you say, "Okay, I'm gonna fire Mendilibar because the cycle is done." I mean, you were in the Champions League knockouts months before. You're gonna be able to attract good coach, good coaches. I want to believe in that because I've been hearing, and I think it's quite fair to say that anytime Olympiacos decided to remove either a coach or a key player, uh, it went to shit right after because we can't really replace people properly. But the thing is, we can have high quality coaches coming to us just because of the Champions League. Eh, But the only the answer belongs to Mendilibar because we don't know what he has in mind when it comes to uh, have this team improve. We are going to lose some key player this summer, probably Pirola, Heze, Ortega, uh,
Maybe
question mark.
Mutakitis,
Yeah,
Jolaki,
question
John
mark
Gray.
with El Kabi renewal. So it's gonna be, if the new cycle is forced on Mendilibar, maybe he can deliver again. But if we do keep the core player, it's gonna be the same. I'm not going to show Lombro's comments.
Labros is going wild in the comment section, trying to get us to show his comments. He's writing some wild takes. I think he's trying to get us to bite. He's trying to get us on a rage bait here.
Uh,
Um, I,
I
I
have
agree.
the
I just
perfect jersey for Lombros to show.
my issue with this mentality of changing coaches, um, I really don't like it because people in the comments are saying, "Wait, where's this?" There was one comment here, this one from GS. Each coach can only take a team so far. I think Mendy has done all he can, which is a lot. We will thank him forever for his massive contribution. I don't understand. Um, I don't understand the thinking behind this because first season in Europe, he wins the Conference League. He does the most he can do. Second season, we finished top 8 in the Europa League and qualify for the knockouts. Yeah, we got knocked out by Bodo. Theoretically, we're a better team, but you see what Bodo's doing right now in the Champions League. They're not a pushover. Anyway, so first league, Conference League, wins it. Europa League, qualifies, top 8. Theoretically, we would consider that a partial success. This year, Champions League, qualifies. Now, if next year, all of a sudden, we finish bottom of the Champions League, then yeah, maybe he has done all he can. Maybe he has hit a wall. But what I'm seeing is an upward trajectory of improvement, not necessarily the playing style. And I genuinely think we were more beautiful to watch in his first season. Those final few games in the Conference League, my God, that those Fenerbahce games and those Aston Villa games, we were a joy to watch in comparison to what we are now. But I thought 3 wins on the bounce in the Champions League. Don't remember the last time we ever did that. Not in my lifetime. Maybe in 2007 when we beat Werder Bremen and Lazio away. I think we beat Lazio at home, Lazio away, and then Werder Bremen away, something like that. But again, I don't even think that was on the bounce. Do you know what I mean? I think people are looking at this as if they want to get they have it in their head. Oh, we need to blame Mendilibar. We need to get rid of him. Someone else is going to do better. No, it's all going up with Mendilibar. And next season, if we win the league, which a lot of the future sort of depends on, both Mendilibar but also the project of Olympiacos depends on winning the league and being in the Champions League next season. We win the league, win the Champions League next season. We're even better next season. We keep attracting better players. We keep progressing in Europe, and that's how we keep moving forward. Now, if we fail to win the league and it goes like that, then we can start having discussions. Or if we win the league, qualify for the Champions League, and finish, last, get 1-2 points, then again we can have these discussions. But for me, it's not the dream. We haven't won the Champions League, but it's a huge improvement.
No, but the question I truly have and had for years is that what is the starting point of Olympiacos fans when it comes to Champions League? And like,
Oh, we're winning
I
it.
don't,
Everyone thinks we're winning the whole thing, Martial.
I
You
don't
know
want to,
plenty of Greeks.
I don't want to sound mean saying that, but um, how I never understood how Olympiacos fans see themselves into the Champions League reality, because Olympiacos is a club that was playing it every season, like every football fan in Europe, like guys like me that weren't Greek, we would know Olympiacos and Panathinaikos because both teams were playing Champions League every season. Both teams were winning a lot of games at home because they have good players at first and massive support, but they would struggle a lot playing abroad. And I remember games against Lyon, against Bordeaux, for example, just to talk about French football. And I never understood why would Olympiacos be so confident, Olympiacos fans being so confident when it comes to Champions League ambitions when you barely did anything a part of the 1999 run that would have probably be worthy of Champions League title. The thing is, Mendilibar, in my opinion, just created the foundation for Olympiacos to be more ambitious in the Champions League next season. It could be with another coach. I wouldn't mind. Maybe we can find a better coach on the market, someone that comes and play different football, more offensive with more creativity in it. But Mendilibar, in my opinion, just did something, and it might be unpopular, but what Mendilibar did is bigger than Mitchell winning against Manchester United. The 2-0 in Karaiskakis, that was one of the biggest game ever for Olympiacos uh, in the Champions League. Mendilibar did better because he built that. He built that into the league phase of the Champions League, and we finished this Champions League way better than how we started it. And it has to matter at some point. And I don't like this word, but it's a process. Champions League is always a process, and I don't know. There is some kind of disalignment between ambition and reality, in my opinion. And that's why Mendilibar was a gift of God, if I can say that, because he realigned us with ambition and results for the first time in many years.
I agree.
We
This
talked
this
we talk about it multiple times, like including in the Patreon chat, where when we were sending pictures of starting lineups in the, we had this debate about Galicios, if you do remember, because I
yeah.
sent a picture of a jersey of Galicios on Vinted, you can buy. And when you look at Galicios, the guy started Europa League games against Saint Etienne, for example, and you look at Olympiacos team on paper, it's like twice better than the team we had tonight, and we never won the Europa League uh, with insane squads with internationals on every spot because we never had a playing style that was intense enough to match the requirements of a European title. The first time we have a coach that brings that to the club, we win the Conference League. We end up into the top 8 of the Europa League. That is a massive performance, in my opinion. And then the year after, we go into the knockouts of the Champions League. We will never have better than that, in my opinion. We can have a different play style, but we will never have better than that.
Um, Martial,
Maybe
there's a
I'm
lot.
wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I agree with you completely. I don't
I
think I've
just
ever
want to
agreed
add
with you
something
more.
because Lambros is talking, but this is the kind of player, Johan. Your takes are worthy of that jersey of
Hey,
Samaris
Samari
with the
scored
national
a
team.
GOAT goal for Greece in the World Cup in 2014. One of the most memorable goals for me in my life. That game against Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Right. There's a lot of comments here. And we said we were going to try and not have too long of a show because it's super late and I'm tired. But there's so many good comments here and I really want to just blitz through them. Can I just attack some of these comments and just go bap, 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 bap? Because there's a lot I need to answer and there's a lot of things that I have replies for. First of all, this is a comment I agree with. And then I'm going to go to all the stuff that I disagree with. Like Ravalas is saying, for the people who want to get rid of Mendy, I'd like to hear a coherent playing style alternative. And then how can you be sure that Marinakis will materialize it? Forget about how Marinakis materializes it. I'm just going to use one example for anyone that watches the Premier League, which is most football fans. It's the most famous league in the world. West Ham, a couple of years ago, won the Conference League. I think it was the season before us under David Moyes. They were finishing consistently 8th, 9th. Fans absolutely hated their style of play, hated it. Moyes goes, and West Ham are probably going to go down this year. So be careful what you wish for. And every single West Ham fan I've met is now like, oh my God, what have we done? Because Mendilibar, you might not like the crosses, you might not like this, you might not like the other, but as we've said, has won the Conference League, did the top 8 last year in the Europa League, and this year we qualified in the Champions League. A month ago, we were going, oh my God, I can't believe we just won 3 on the bounce and we qualified. We're amazing. Look at us. Look at how we did it. And now people are calling for his head because you lost 2-0 on aggregate to Bayer Leverkusen, a very, very good Bundesliga side. Like, you didn't lose to Pafos or Kairat. You lost to Bayer Leverkusen. 2 years ago, they were undefeated in the Bundesliga. They won the Bundesliga without losing a game. They were invincibles. They got to the final of the Conference League. They lost 1 game all season that year, and they lost to the Conference League. Right. And all the other questions, there's a lot of other comments I need to... This one. GS is saying, we're a European Cup winning team. The standards have increased. We need to play better. Progression in the UCL has never been easier. You have 8 games to get 10 points, and you're basically in. Yeah, we're a European Cup winning team in the Conference League. It's very different in the Champions League. Yes, I know I was joking. We're champions of Europe, and us and Real Madrid are the same, but we're not the same. Also, it's not easier to get progression. You have 8 games to get 10 points, but you're playing against 50 of the best teams in the world. Not 50, 30. And 10 of them are literally Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal. We had Arsenal away, Barcelona away, and Real Madrid at home. So 3 of the 8 games that we had are guaranteed losses straight away. What, are you expecting you're going to go into Ajax and beat Ajax? Because Ajax are a huge team. Yeah, they haven't been that great this season, but they were looking like they were going to turn it around. You went and beat them. Leverkusen, who are now just beat us, and they've qualified for the round of 16. Again, as I just said, a big Bundesliga side. You beat them at home in the league phase. Boom. PSV, the Netherlands' second biggest Dutch team. You dominated them, should have won, conceded last minute, 1-1. But Again, like I don't understand.
Did, did,
We were playing tough games. Yes, Kairat and Paphos are the two games that you're thinking are the easy ones that we should be winning, and they wouldn't exist in previous versions of the Champions League. I agree about that. But every other game, super, super, super tough on paper. So I don't want to hear that it's easier now. Right, there's more. 1 second.
we never lost to a smaller team in the Champions League this season,
No,
if I'm not mistaken.
no.
We
We lost
lost
to Real
to
Madrid 4-3. We lost to Barcelona 6-1. We lost to Arsenal 2-0. That was it. And then we drew 2 games and we won 3 games. That was it.
I don't understand
I don't understand.
the
And then this is another one. Sorry, here by Rock and Roll. The opportunity was there after we won the conference. You had a good coach, you had the excitement of the fans, you ruined those ambitions by the transfers we make and stopping the development. What ambitions were ruined? We've only gone up. We won the Conference League, then qualified in the Europa League top 8, won the league and the cup. We're in the Champions League, qualified in the Champions League. We're going forwards, not backwards. We have capitalized on winning the Conference League. I'm sorry, I completely disagree. It's the complete opposite of what you've just said. You had a good coach and you had the excitement of the fans. Yes, and we went and capitalized on that. We're not stopping the development. We're only getting better.
I think
It's
that
what I was saying earlier. If we lose the league, if we mess up in Europe next season, then you can start saying these things. Sorry. Carry on. Sorry, I sort of took over for a bit there, Martial. I'm just getting riled up by these comments, man.
but also we also need to address the fact that what we last season we were eliminated by Bodo. If we all remember, the thing is that like a crazy meltdown up happened because anyone was believing, and including myself, that Bodo wouldn't be able to sustain the level. But it turns out that we lost to a team that kept improving, and uh, I don't know exactly. I truly don't know exactly what were the ambitions in Europe for the club. I don't know, because I think we are over analyzing something uh, like the European journey of Olympiacos in Europe with Mendilibar, and I think also this season it's just Champions League. Every team in the world wants to be in the Champions League and wants to perform in it. Like 2 months ago, I remember we were having discussions with about Karabakh, like how Karabakh can have insane wins in the Champions League. They do play attractive football, and look what they did against Newcastle. Do we wanted that for Olympiacos, like to play better football and enter the game against Newcastle and leave the Champions League by losing twice?
I think they
By
lost
my
9-3 on
Yeah,
aggregate, something like that. But
I think we are all pretty much saying the same thing. We are all pretty much saying the same thing. And tonight, the plan for me was good. It's just the execution from the players that wasn't. And when you don't have a striker like El Kabi playing at his true level, it's more difficult for a team like that, because who decided the tie? It's Patrick Schick. He scored a
yeah,
brace in Karaiskakis,
yeah,
and that's it. No one else
that's it.
scored in that tie.
Their striker scored, ours didn't. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Their
exactly.
star player scored, ours did. Look, GS, another comment here. Bodo was a big team that kicked us out in Europa. I'm sorry, they just kicked out Inter. And Inter's going to win the Scudetto. Bodo is not, it's not Xanthi FC. I'm sorry. Last season, they were knocked out by Tottenham, who ended up winning the Europa League. Like, I don't understand what this mentality is, guys. I really
No,
don't
but
get it.
it's
Like, and we're not even talking about the field advantage that they have. Forget about that. Like, Boran has a official advantage this morning in San Siro. Like, we're not even talking about the fact that in Norway they have the fake pitch that helps them win the games. They are a good team. Like, this is finally a comment. Thank you, because I genuinely think I'm going crazy here. A comment by Dimitris. Great name, by the way. I agree with you guys. Good reality check and reminder not to take anything for granted. Of course, we should not be taking anything for granted.
No, what matters most is the shitty playing style in the Greek league, not in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. That's a different topic. That's a different topic.
I think we
I
can
completely
all
agree with
agree
you
on
on
the
that.
fact that the playing style in the Greek league has been
Because
very
you
poor.
have to be different in the Greek league because you are the favorite. You have to have creativity. You have to play really attacking football to win those games. Even the derby games, you are pretty much always the better team on the pitch. In Europe, into Champions League, you're probably always, not the majority of the times, the lesser of the two teams on the pitch.
But also, in my opinion, it when we played uh, tonight, it's one of the first time when we were playing. I think the biggest thing Mendilibar brought when he came to the team is like when I'm watching games like tonight, I know that I won't be seeing like crazy stuff from defenders than just like we were seeing with like Freire, those kind of
Don't
players.
remind me. I was there for that Freire game against Tottenham. Don't
Those
remind me.
no, you mean Maria.
Oh, that was Meria. Oh my God, yes, that was Meria. Fucking
But
hell.
the thing is, uh, we evolved so much. I think that when we went into the halftime tonight at 0-0, I knew we wouldn't be able to uh, come back into this game. But the thing is, I just took time to reflect on the amount of live shows we've did after horrible European games. How many European games we've had that were just terrible.
Yeah,
uh, I mentioned not, but the whole Europa League phase in that time was horrible.
Freiburg. Those Freiburg
Yeah,
games. Oh my God.
and just the Atalanta tie when we were
Yeah,
erased by Atalanta because they were just miles better than us. The path we did, and I know it's difficult sometimes to value that after a loss, but we have to value that more than it appears because not a lot of clubs and Bodo gets more hype than us because they comes from nowhere and they play on a plastic pitch. It's a fisherman club. It's a tiny village, but we are one of the most improved club in Europe over the past years. So it means that the system of Mendilibar is working. It means that the player selection has been working, and maybe it's not working currently because a core of players, in my opinion, is tired and unable to deliver as much as they should. But the whole process has been worthy of being experienced. And the only question mark we should have is Mendilibar able to see that he needs to renew the core of starting players? If he doesn't think we need to renew that, he has to go. If he thinks that some of them can leave and be replaced by better players, so be it. I don't believe the board is that bad. Yet I'm not going to say the board is perfect to sign good players because we ended up signing wrong profiles this summer. But if Mendy keeps blocking moves to happen, it can't improve. Like we had Athanasio under contract and we kept Bruno, for example. Uh, you know what I mean? I want to believe, I decided to believe that Mendy Dibar will see the light at some point. He has a good squad, a good basis. And I mean, once again, we need to repeat that no coach in from what I remember, either in Greece or elsewhere in Europe, has been able to win the Conference League, to have a top eight in the Europa League, and to be in Champions League knockouts the season after. Do we realize what it matters? We did that with players like Rodinei. We did that with players like Chiquinho that wasn't used in Benfica. We did that with El Khabi signing on a free. We did that with Solakis being installed as a starting goalkeeper instead of Pachalakis. We did that with Retsos that hasn't played football for like 5 seasons before. Look at the game we had tonight. I mean, if we don't believe in all of that, on top of the shitty playing style we're seeing, what's the point of even rooting for? No, I'm not going to say that. But what's the point of uh, even debating stuff? Nothing is perfect. Like we are far from perfect because, as some people said in the comments, we don't have any sports director. We need to find a new sports director. We need to probably have the board tell to Mendy that he shouldn't be blocking transfers. Uh, the only thing, as I said on the WhatsApp group, the only thing I'm jealous from when it comes to Bodo is the fact that when a player leaves Bodo and fails, he comes back to Bodo immediately. He doesn't go elsewhere abroad. He comes back immediately to Bodo, and they have huge amount of local players. Like they don't have Fortunis going to Saudi Arabia and coming back 2 years after. They don't have Tsimikas failing at the end at Liverpool and that prefers to go to Roma instead to come back in
I agree.
Olympiacos. You
I
don't have
agree.
Yanulis going to Bundesliga rather than playing Champions League with Olympiacos. You know what I mean? And this is the only thing we need to improve. And my other question is that is Mendilibar able to integrate more Greek player? Because we will need that. It just need to transform himself into Paulo Bento a little bit more, and it would be perfect.
He was doing that. He was doing that. It's stopped this season, but he was doing that. There was a lot more. I mean, let's be honest. He brought in Mouzakitis, Kostoulas, and Zolakis. He had. We saw bloody hell. We saw Lykoyannis in the final. Why have you
This
got
is,
Stalpigidis
this
Pauk
is your
shirt?
take, Lampros.
Oh my god, get rid of that. None of that, please. Yeah, Bremonidis played a couple of games. Like he seemed like he was trusting the youngsters, and I love that for him. So he needs to go back to do that. There's just one comment here that I had to I have to bring up again. That came up. Bear with me. It was something about. There you go, this one. Balai Salgavalas, which I really disagree with. Forget Bodo. The model for Olympiacos should be the Portuguese teams. Similar market as Greece, yet they have managed to be 2 levels above any Greek team, both financially and football-wise. Portuguese teams have a history of European pedigree and success. Porto have won the Champions League. Benfica have won the Champions League. The Portuguese national team is one of the best national teams in the world. They may be the same size as us as a country, as Greece, but I feel like we're comparing apple and oranges. Actually, let me rephrase that. We're not comparing apple and oranges. We're comparing a very beautiful orange to an orange that has just come out of the rubbish. Yes, we might be similar, but Portugal is light years ahead of Greece in the footballing world, and their clubs are light years ahead of the Greek clubs. The national team, the clubs, everything. You cannot be comparing the likes of Benfica, Porto, and Sporting Lisbon to Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, PAOK, and AEK and Levadiakos. Like, come on, let's be honest. And one more comment that I keep seeing is about Mendilibar needs to understand. I can't find it right now, but he needs to understand he's not managing this one by Dear Muslona here. I don't know if he's trolling or if he's doing. I've seen a couple of this times he's said this. Mendilibar needs to change his mentality and perspective because he's coaching Olympiacos, not Eibar that fights to remain in La Liga. I'm sorry. The Olympiacos that I'm seeing from Mendilibar in the majority of matches in the Champions League is going for it against bigger teams. We scored 3 goals against Real Madrid. We lost 4-3 to Real Madrid. Barcelona, if that wasn't for that red card, that game would not have ended 6-1. That phantom red card. We just scored. It was 2-1. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening. Went away to Ajax 1, beat Leverkusen at home, won 3 games on the bounce in the Champions League. Last year beat Braga and Porto away, if I'm not mistaken. Both games we won away. Beat Aston Villa. home and away, a team that qualified to the Champions League that season in the Premier League. Like, he knows he's not managing Ibar. Oh, and also, no reason to bring up Ibar. That man has also managed Sevilla and won the Europa League with Sevilla. Like, we need to stop minimizing people and minimizing their accomplishments. Mendilibar is one of the most successful, if not the most successful manager we've ever had, not just for Olympiacos' sake, but like outside of what he's achieved with Olympiacos. He'd won the Europa League the season right before he came to us. It's not like, who's not Uzunidis, who's the one that always went to Olympiacos, that manager? I don't remember what his name is. The one with the mustache, proper Greek guy, like fat belly. Anyways,
Parashos,
but also there was another one as well. There was proper old school
Babis
looking dude.
Dennis,
Anyways, Babis. No, Dennis doesn't have a mustache, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, like, oh my god, there's so many. Yeah, then Sevilla sacked him for his style and approach. But have they won a European competition since? No. It can't. We have to. We are not Liverpool, Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, where you have to be beautiful football and winning at the same time. Guys, we have to be a little bit more practical. Yes, I didn't forget that they fired him. Yes, I agree, they fired him. But he also bloody won them the Europa League. It's like what I said. If we win the Europa League, like just like how we won the Conference League, he can do whatever the hell he wants. It's like you've earned the right to when you give the absolute highest of highs, the highest of highs. Like, it doesn't get any higher than that. It's like you're saying you're not going to date Margot Robbie because she doesn't know how to cook that well. Like,
no, but the thing is, um, Mendilibar is not really a league coach for me. He's way better when he has to prepare European games, and he has been reducing the mental complex we had when we were facing better teams. Like, remember when Martins played against Manchester City and he has Fortunis playing as a false nine with like 10
yeah,
10 defensive players out of
behind the ball.
11
Yeah.
with Drager as a right back. And when we were having postcast episodes, uh, discussing about Useinuba in the defense, discussing about is Kunde worthy enough of a start. Look at uh, the road we have done since then. And the only fact that we can be discussing about can we get a better coach than Mendilibar, it's the absolute proof that he has done a great work. Otherwise, we wouldn't be discussing that. We would be discussing like maybe Manolo Jimenez is able to come back for a short stint with Olympiacos because we can't win the league, we can't qualify for the Europa League. I do not care if Panathinaikos sign on Andrus Tete. He's a good player, decent player, but it's not the kind of player we want to see at Olympiacos. It doesn't matter if Clayton didn't do anything yet since he signed.
I mean,
I mean,
he played 90 seconds today.
we can't be always wanting more. Football pushes us to be wanting more. I do want more every day. I was wanting more like in every transfer period. Uh, I want more. But the thing is, you need to be pleased with what you have in football. Otherwise, you, we should be supporting Manchester City. You know what I mean? It's frustrating to be a football fan. It's super frustrating to be a football fan, including an Olympiacos fan. Even if we do win the title, like one season out of two on average over 100 years. But the thing is, the club needs to do better, and I trust Marinakis, even if he had some mistakes recently, to do what needs to be done. And he renewed Mendilibar, so he believes in the guy. He believes in the guy. He believes in that he will get quality players. I do believe. Uh, I do believe we can win the league. It's going to be difficult. We barely won any derby this season, so I'm not really confident, but I want to believe in it. I want to believe in it. And it's the only fact that we are having such a meltdown tonight, it's because mentally we saw that it was possible to eliminate
Yeah,
Leverkusen.
yeah,
So it's just an entirely justification for Mendilibar, because we were never believing in that since Manchester United and Michel, in my opinion. Since then, I don't recall Olympiacos starting games or knockout games or ties in the Champions League with the confidence that we could make it.
yeah.
That's
And that,
why I keep saying that the starting point of the analysis is uh, Mendilibar. We need to start from Mendilibar. The European pedigree of Olympiacos, the modern one, started with Mendilibar. Anyone knows that we won the Conference League. We went to the Europa League top eight. We went to the Champions League knockouts. I'm a Marseille fan. I would kill to have lived that with Marseille. Like 100% of clubs, not 99% of clubs, if you uh, take back PSG and probably Manchester City, they would all kill to have to leave that. We need upgrades. We need new players. We need to get rid of some players. That's the usual uh, job that we had to do every summer. But Mendilibar isn't able to fix it all, and he can't win the Champions League with Olympiacos. I think it's that simple.
I mean, no one can win the Champions League with Olympiacos at this moment in time. Um, Martial, I know people are super engaged, but I'm exhausted. I'm guessing you're even more exhausted. I think we should wrap up. It's been about an hour.
Yeah.
Should we finish up with man of the match and coach's grade? I know it's sort of a moot point because it's across two legs, but I still think that today we had some certain players that sort of stood out. I think it's worth giving it a shout because there were some players that made me want to bang my head against the wall, but there were other players where I went, "Yeah, this is not bad at all, and they could be even better." What do you think?
No, I agree with you. The only thing I wanted to add tonight after finishing that game is that maybe the 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 very last pieces that was lacking into Mendilibar's plan, in my opinion, is a midfielder that is able to score from 6 to 8, 9 goals all comes
Yeah,
during the season with some assists. Like
like
if
Fortunis.
Heze, no, but I'm talking about like more defensive midfielder. But if
Okay.
Heze was able to be better offensively, I think he would have been easily the best midfielder of the entire history of Olympiacos. That's my only frustration, because when the strikers can't score anymore, you need someone that uh, can shot from outside the area, just like Scipione did at the end. And that's the only thing that is lacking currently. And including in the Greek league, when you see someone like Razvan Marin with Ajax, for example, that is a top midfielder, in my opinion. He scores a lot, he assists a lot, and we are lacking that. And just to answer your question, my MVP is Retsos, number one. Number two is going to be Gelson.
Ah,
And
interesting. I went the other way around. For me, it was Gelson up until he swapped him onto the left wing. Up until he brought Andrew Luiz on because he disappeared on that wing. But I think he was our only attacking threat, and he kept going at them. He kept beating his man. Cut a couple of excellent crosses. There was one which I remember that was along the ground, and Tiquinho looked 1 foot behind. If Tiquinho was 1 foot further forward, that's a tap in. And he had a couple of other really, really dangerous crosses where the strikers just weren't in the correct position. Yeah, so I think Zelson. What about Mendilibar's grade for this game? Because obviously we were much, much, much better than last week, in my opinion. We were night and day. We controlled the game better. Our press was so much better. We seemed like we cared more about this game, whereas last week we sort of let them have the possession and dictate how the game was played. Um, I think we were much better this week, although I would have liked to have seen some subs earlier. People are talking about that last week we had two forwards and they cancelled each other out. This week he played different system. He only played with one forward. I didn't like the two forwards last week. What do you think? What grade do you give Mendilibar?
Well, I would say he gets, I would say B, because the tactic was good. He corrected what he had to correct from the first game. Of course, it was lacking some offensive situations, like some creativity. But on the other side, if we started too offensively, maybe we would have said, "Oh, he should have been more prudent starting this game." And maybe the only complaint I have is late subs. Like you needed to have subs at halftime. But in the Champions League, you don't control that much of things. It's the quality that decides.
I completely agree. Late subs was one of my big issues. I think he set up everything perfectly. It's just we don't have the right striker for this sort of game. I didn't have an issue with Dani Garcia starting. I didn't have an issue. I wanted Chiquinho to play because of the press. I think he had the right midfield players on. We're lacking a striker up front that is. I would like someone on the style of play like Hugo Ekitike at Liverpool. Now, obviously, I'm not saying get him because he's much higher levels. But he was at Leverkusen last year, wasn't he? Or Frankfurt. Was at Frankfurt last year. But I want someone who's powerful and quick. Doesn't necessarily have to be a big target man, but someone who can just be a little bit like go at players a bit more. This game needed someone like that. We needed a second Gelson Martins. And when Andrew Luiz came on, unfortunately, he was like Bambi on ice. He couldn't stay standing. Overall, I give Mendilibar, B minus, somewhere around there as well from me. Because he corrected what needs correct from the last game. I just think he lacked the personnel to execute the plan to perfection that we would have liked in this game. You get the counter pressure. You have a quick player up front who's big but also quick and strong and scores. That's what I would have liked. And without another winger to help Gelson and have that creativity and that attacking flair, I don't really see how we could have done more on that end. Anything else you want to close up?
Yes, I thought about something recently. The most Mendy-made player we had in a contract at the club recently was probably Hugo Kuipers. If he did came with Mendilibar, I think it would have been the absolute striker in that playing style. It's sometimes football is quite unfair because a club like Olympiacos has signed so many players over the past decade, and a lot of them would have been insane put in that playing style. That I think Hugo Kuipers would have been a fantastic player with Mendilibar.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it here first, guys. Hugo Kuipers, fantastic player with Mendilibar. Guys, it's been a pleasure being with you guys tonight. It's been unfortunately not the result that we wanted, but I am proud of this team and everything that we've achieved. I think Olympiacos have had a successful European season. There's plenty more still to play with the league, but I think when it comes down to Europe, we should be pleased. And excited to see where the rest of it goes. As you can all tell, I'm firmly in the camp of don't touch Mendilibar. It's only going to get better, and it only keeps getting better, in my opinion. We have to walk before we can fly. But yeah, from me, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Martial has signed it off with Kuipers would be the perfect Mendilibar player. That's one of the One of the most interesting takes I've heard from Martial. Surprised Labro's clearly not still around, otherwise he'd be in the comments commenting about this. But yeah, it's been a pleasure from us. From us, I went Dutch because of Kuipers. Thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure, and have a good night. We'll catch you all soon.